what it is here on KCMO Talk Radio, even though we know why it's happening and we're not even opposed to why it's happening. But Missouri is going to go to special session tomorrow in Jeff City to gerrymander its congressional districts. That's what's going on here tomorrow. And as we predicted on Friday, Governor Mike Kehoe called that special session in a Friday pre-Labor Day, pre-long weekend, first weekend of college football news dump. That's exactly what he did, okay? And it's, I understand why he did it. You look at some of these blue states, they are far more gerrymandered than the red states. But that's what's going on here. It's that simple. Anybody telling you otherwise, anybody trying to trick you or convince you into it being anything else is just full of it. We will have the governor on the show today at 8:20 this morning. Mike Kehoe will be here for his first interview on this very subject. And, of course, we know this will have major implications on Kansas City because it's Kansas City that is going to get carved up in this redistricting, John.
Yeah, we're already planning a block party for my new neighbors in St. Louis in my new district. So,
Sam Graves, good thing he flies his own private plane because that guy's district gets even bigger. He's going to be looping all the way around to the other side of the state. He'll basically have, as he always has had, all of northern Missouri, but it does get tweaked a little bit as well. So Mike Kehoe, the governor of Missouri, drops this video late last week, and here's what it sounded like.
Missouri's conservative common sense values, rooted in faith, family, and freedom, should be truly represented at all levels of government, local, state, and federal. Because representation isn't just about districts and lines on one map. And our Constitution shouldn't be the victim of out-of-state special interests who spend millions to deceive voters and pass out-of-touch policies.
Now, what he's talking about there is IP reform, which means initiative petition reform. A lot of these things that have passed at the state level over the last few years, the marijuana stuff, minimum wage, all these things in Missouri that really, in many respects, have not been consistent with who Missouri has elected to statewide office. They're changing that process as well to make it more difficult for some of these things to get on the ballot. He's right about that. Once again, this is something that the Missouri legislature has been thinking about doing for years, and no one's been able to get it done. I mean, Parson couldn't get it done. Forget it. There was too much infighting during his tenure. I don't know why it didn't get done this past legislative session last spring. But yes, it is too easy to get stuff on the ballot in Missouri. And then what happens is those people who support those petitions that get on the ballot flood the state of Missouri. Yes, it's a lot of dark out-of-state money. All that is true. But it's like, guys, where you been for the last half a decade? I mean, well, those of us who want to go to a Chiefs game now just smell weed all over the parking lot instead of barbecue. And, you're squeezing small businesses with some of these minimum wage increases. Where you been? I mean, I guess better late than never, but man, they take forever on this stuff in Missouri.
It's the responsibility of the state legislature to ensure that values of Missouri families and communities are represented in Washington, D.C. and in our state. In Missouri, Republicans hold over 90% of local county offices and have held every statewide seat. I have been reminded time and time again, through both good times and bad times, Missourians are more alike than we are different. And our Missouri values across both sides of the aisle are closer to each other than those of the extreme left representation of New York, California, and even as close as Illinois. That's why today I'm calling for a special session on congressional redistricting and initiative petition reform to ensure our districts and Constitution truly reflect Missouri values and put Missourians' priorities first. I appreciate President Donald Trump for raising the level of conversation on this matter because his leadership on this nationally underscores just how important this moment is for Missouri. So beginning Wednesday, September 3rd, the Missouri legislature will reconvene in Jefferson City.
All right. So that's Governor Mike Kehoe announcing over the weekend that redistricting will happen in Missouri. Emanuel Cleaver will see his district carved up. It will become a Republican district. Cleaver will still live in the 5th Congressional District. But basically, the southern half of Kansas City is going to go into Mark Alford's district, which changes things for Mark Alford. And Cleaver's district is going to become much more red and shoot all the way out to the Columbia area. So that's how this thing is going to change. And there were big rallies and protests yesterday in Kansas City. None of it's going to make a difference. This is going to happen. Yes, it's gerrymandering. Yeah, it's crappy for people in Kansas City. I understand it. At the same time, I look at the national landscape and I say to myself, you know what? I mean, the one thing that you can say right now about Republicans, and one of the reasons that Donald Trump has been the face of the party for 10 years is because he's basically willing to play by the rules the Democrats continue to basically set up. They gerrymander their states, and then they're complaining by the fact that Missouri's basically going to do the same thing they've already done in many of their states. Really? Whether it's California, Illinois, New York to a lesser extent, you don't really have a leg to stand on. I mean, even Quentin Lucas is very upset about this, and I understand it to some degree. When he redistricted Kansas City, what did they do? They split up the Northland, and they did it on a north-south basis versus an east-west basis, which it had been forever. The Northland used to always be one of the west side and then one from the east side of the Northland. Now they have a south side of the Northland and a north side of the Northland. That basically allowed them to squeeze out a Republican from the Kansas City, Missouri City Council. That's what it allowed them to do. So they're all doing it. To be clear, they're all doing it. That's what's going on here. 913-408-7957. We got a lot to dive into this morning on KCMO Talk Radio. We'll get to you. Steve is in KCK. What's up, Steve?
Oh, P, this is what we voted for. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Once we retire Musty Moo Moo to the car wash, I'm begging, I'm begging you, please, Mr. Mayor, do it. He says he's going to fight injustice and run in his district. Please go down to the Ozarks on his platform of work IDs for illegals and reparations. Fight the power, Mr. Mayor. Please, Mr. Lucas, run for the House. I mean, this is fantastic. I mean, let's get Sharice Davids is under attack here too. We can finally, all the stupid people in Johnson County who keep running for Sharice Davids, she's going to be gone. She's going to be gone as well. I mean, this is the. We'll see if the Kansas legislature moves ahead. Apparently, we don't need any affirmation from the governor to redistrict Sharice out of office either. But man, I mean, they just get angry when we fight back. That's the only time.
Well, that's exactly right, Stephen, and that's why we can call this what this is, gerrymandering, but also admit they set the rules here on this, man. Okay, I mean they made the rules on this, and they really can't be upset.
Listen, I gotta give Mayor Lucas if he does this, okay, I gotta give him credit. If he actually does this and does this mission of Harikari, I gotta give him credit. If he's gonna fight the injustice and fight,
well, you're talking about him going up against Emanuel or going up against Mark Alford. We'll have to see how that plays out.
And let's do it. Let's have him fall or stand on his ideas, on his policy. This is a good thing. I don't think this is bad at all.
Well, it's you know and I know it's going to be very entertaining for us, Stephen. So thank you, my man. I appreciate you. I can tell you're fired up.
You mustard moo.
I know you're ready. You're lit there, Stephen. He's feeling good, man.
Woo!
Wow. He might have won a lot of money too on TCU blowing out Bill Belichick last night.
Well, he didn't get the call yesterday, so he's got 2 days worth of excitement bottled up there.
Oh, gosh. You see Belichick's coaching debut? Oh, my goodness. All the stars were out, Michael Jordan, everybody, and TCU blasts them last night, 48-14. Did you bet that game, Mark?
Yeah, sadly, the blowout cost me.
Oh,
it's all right.
Mark, you had a bad weekend, buddy.
It was a bad weekend.
You had a bad weekend. Woo!
Started
man.
with the Army on Friday and went all the way to Monday night.
Oh, man. Steven's on one side of the aisle today. Mark's on the other when it comes to how they're feeling today. Woo, man.
But it was fun seeing Billy Belichick get blown out.
Oh, come on. That felt good, man. Even if you thought UNC was going to win, I wouldn't be putting my money behind Belichick. Jeez. It's a loser's proposition there, Mark. You got suckered into it, buddy. It's okay, though.
No, I picked TCU, but I had a prop bet that they stopped passing late in the game, so it kind of hurt me on that.
Gotcha. I gotcha. Okay.
I knew TCU was going to win.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, please. Coming up on KCMO, there was another Friday news dump in our region, and this one's going to hurt the pocketbooks. We'll tell you about it next on KCMO.
If it's happening in KCMO, it's on KCMO 95.7 FM. Here's Pete Mundo.
So it didn't matter that many of you, hundreds of you, showed up to the Johnson County Board of Commissioners meeting last week and said, I don't know if I can afford to live in my own home because of what you guys in Johnson County are doing to me here on these taxes. They didn't care. Didn't matter to them. And last week, middle of the week, came down that the 6-1 vote would move ahead in Johnson County to increase the Johnson County property tax revenues by 6.5%. So they're going to look at this at the Johnson County Commissioner level and say, well, we're keeping the rate the same. Okay, well, guess what? That's totally irrelevant.
Nobody cares.
Nobody pays their taxes and thinks about what their rate is. They think about what it means for them in terms of real dollars. And Johnson County decided, I know we've been increasing these taxes and we ballooned our budget basically double where it was less than a decade ago from $900 million to now $1.9 billion. We don't really care. Nope. We don't care one bit. We're increasing and taking 6.5% more. And it's an absolute crime. And credit to Jeff Collier, former governor of Kansas. He is also running for governor here in 2026. He posted on social media over the weekend, the Johnson County Board of Commissioners just slammed property owners with a staggering 6.5% tax hike. That is 250% higher than the inflation rate, completely ignoring a room full of desperate taxpayers pleading for relief. This outrageous increase is just another example of property taxes spiraling out of control. And it's high time reckless government spending gets reined in. Enough is enough. Stop fleecing the people. Attaboy, Jeff Collier. Woo! I'm fired up when I see a post like that. My question is simply this. We've heard a lot of talk from Kansas Republicans about doing something regarding property taxes. And the conversation always was basically around the idea of whether or not they should try to cut state property taxes. Your state portion of property taxes is nothing compared to your county, compared to your city, compared to your schools. The state is like a fraction of those other three major property tax funders: county, city, and schools. So if the state's getting serious, and this is something that Missouri should look at as well, we know about all the issues in Jackson County and the problems that have happened on that side of the state line. But what they should really do is figure out a way at the state level to basically tell these counties to get their house in order. That's what needs to happen. I understand inflation. I understand population growth. But Johnson County, Kansas, going from $900 million to a $1.9 billion budget in the last decade, I mean, that should bother anybody. And this is not a Republican, Democrat, left, right, red, blue issue. This is just, if you care about taking care of your taxpayers, if you care about your property owners not getting totally squeezed, then this should be important to you. And there's a lot of people that I happen to disagree with on some of the national stuff, but I see them all the time, and they're like, it's out of control what this county is doing. I hear from Overland Park residents who probably don't like some of the things that I believe in when it comes to the national news scene. That's okay. That's cool. They understand that their cities and their counties are completely out of control. They get it. And this is something that, we should be able to put partisanship aside in situations like this because it has a direct impact on all of us. Unless you're on the take, I suppose, unless this is good for you, because maybe you work for the county, you work in government, I don't know. You're a contractor that does a lot of government work so they can build all these new buildings, new courthouses, new health department buildings. Trust me, I've got one going up right by where I live. And I'm like, I don't know, the old building seemed okay to me. Nah, I got to knock it down. Got to build the Taj Mahal of health departments in Johnson County. Really? I don't think so. So Jeff Collier Good for him over the weekend, calling for this and saying, hey, it's time to get this under control. And I hope that this is a major issue that gets a lot of coverage in the Kansas governor's race that will be picking up in the months to come. In the meantime, if you want to pay your property taxes in Johnson County or Jackson County for that matter, you might want to play the Powerball. There was no winner last night of the $1.1 billion Powerball jackpot. So now it grows to $1.3 billion. Yeah, that should cover your property taxes for a little bit in Johnson County, give or take. With no player holding the winning ticket on Monday, the jackpot is now up to $1.3 billion. The next drawing is on Wednesday night. You know, I've never bought a Powerball ticket in my life. Never done it. I don't know if you guys are Powerball players, but I have never in my life bought a Powerball ticket, and I probably won't start now.
I bought a couple.
Do you? Like when it gets to $1 billion, you'll buy one or two?
Yeah, we were out in Colorado, I think, last summer, a couple summers ago when it was up. So me and my siblings all went and bought one at the gas station.
There you go. There you go. What about you, John? You a Powerball guy?
Not this century. Probably haven't played that in a while now. And sometimes you get them for gifts. That's kind of fun during the holidays, though.
It is. Let's see. If a lucky ticket holder beats the 1 in 292 million odds, the winner can opt for a one-time lump sum of $589 million pre-taxes or receive annuity payments of over $5 million annually for over 30 years. You take the lump sum. Unless you can't control yourself, you take the lump sum. It's a no-brainer. Coming up next on KCMO, are you losing faith in hard work leading to the American dream? Many are. We'll tell you about it next.
Hey, it's Kevin Kietzman. Stick around. I'm coming up at 10 o'clock right after Pete Mundo on KCMO 95.7 FM.
Are you losing faith in the American dream? 913-408-7957. You shouldn't, but I understand why many are. A new Wall Street Journal poll finds that the share of people who say they have a good chance of improving their standard of living fell to 25%, a record low in surveys dating back to 1987. More than three-quarters said they lack confidence that life for the next generation will be better than their own, the poll found. Nearly 70% of people said they believe the American dream, that if you work hard, you will get ahead, no longer holds true or never did. The highest level in nearly 15 years of surveys. Now, you go back 15 years, you're talking about coming out of the Great Recession, so understandably, prospects were dim then. But I understand it. I mean, living through it right now, as many of us are, you think to yourself, gosh, if you've got little kids, this home that I'm in right now, with the way that we're devaluing the dollar, what's it going to be worth? $2 million when it's like, less than a quarter of that right now? Are you kidding me? That's out of control. Wages don't feel like they're keeping up with inflation, and they haven't really been keeping up with inflation for the last half a decade. That's 5 years of this malaise where people are just trying to hope they can keep up with the increases in inflation. Never mind if you're trying to get into the housing market right now, or you've been trying to get in for the last couple of years, and rates are high and costs are high for the new home and insurance is high and everything else continues to feel like it's just going up, 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 up. So I understand this. And while there is a political breakdown on this in the poll, 55% of Republicans and 90% of Democrats held a negative view of prospects for themselves and their children. That's fairly normal, depending on who's in the White House, for one party to feel better about their economic prospects than the other. But this is the big thing. As much as we spend a lot of time, and we will spend a lot of time today, talking about Missouri redistricting, getting one more Republican congressional seat, going from a 6-2 Republican map to a 7-1 map, that's going to start tomorrow down in Jeff City. As much as we talk about that happening, and the fact that, in part, President Trump wants this done because he believes it will help him hang on to the House of Representatives coming up next year in the midterms, he still has to understand the number one concern people have right now are economics. It's their financial well-being. It's the economy stupid, as that dope Carville once infamously said, but he wasn't wrong about it. That's what it came down to last year. That's in large part what next year is going to come down to. Yes, there will be people driven out by their TDS. There always are folks driven by their TDS. Trust me, TDS is alive and well. If you thought that disease was going to fall by the wayside, well, wrong. You were wrong. It has not fallen by the wayside. It will not be going anywhere because TDS is real. Just ask Rosie O'Donnell about that. All right? Just do that.
She's a real beauty.
But for the rest of us, for normal people, it's still going to be something that people are motivated by what is going on with them financially. The people, and there are millions, most of this country does not wake up every day and live in a hyper-partisan worldview. They just don't. I mean, they may have voted for Trump. They may have not voted for Trump, but they're not sitting there every day thinking about him. I mean, they want him to do well. If they want their country to do well, we all should be rooting for the president of the United States, no matter who he is. But they mostly look at it and say, how do I feel about myself today? How do I feel about my own future, my family's future? How do I feel about my financial well-being? And no matter what happens with redistricting in Missouri, no matter what happens with redistricting in Texas or Indiana, which could be next up, the main thing that the people in charge need to realize is that there is still a lot of economic pain being felt out there. And this poll is just one example of that. And this week is going to be a very big week. Remember, it's a short week as we sit here on a Tuesday morning on KCMO. But this is going to be a very big week to get a feel for what the economy is currently looking like and what it could look like in the months to come. So on Thursday, we'll get the initial jobless claims at 7:30 on Thursday morning. And then on Friday is when we get the unemployment rate, Friday, September 5th. So this week is really going to tell us what the rest of the year potentially is going to look like, with the Fed set to cut rates probably coming up later this month, with, of course, the economic news of this year feeding into what is likely going to be a very robust 2026 midterm year. So all that is happening right now in real time. And this week could go a long way to determining what exactly the rest of the year looks like economically in this country. So it's something that we should be watching and looking closely at. And we will here on KCMO Talk Radio, 913-408-7957. The other thing that stood out to me in this Wall Street Journal piece, by large majorities, both women and men held a pessimistic view in the combined questions. So did both younger and older adults, those with and without a college degree, and those making more than $100,000 in household income, as well as those with less. It doesn't really matter who you are. People do not feel great about the future prospects of the economy. And the fear that Republicans need to come to terms with is that it leads to the rise of people like this guy, Mamdani, running for mayor in New York City. It leads to somebody like that where people are desperate and they just say, I don't know where else to turn. I don't know who else can do it for me. But when people are desperate, when they feel like there's no future, when they feel like their kids can't have as good of a chance or a better chance of success as what they had, that's when they throw their hands up and they say, well, this guy sounds good. He's promising me free this and free that. Let's give it a shot. So you can mock it all you want, but I would not be mocking it. No way, no how. That is not something that anybody, especially on the right, should be doing, taking any of this stuff lightly. Not a chance. So that's where we're at right now as we roll through a Tuesday morning. Hope you had a great Labor Day weekend. I know the unofficial end of summer is what many of us like to call it. But it's weird because our kids have been in school now for the better part of 3 weeks. In many parts of the country, the kids are just going back to school this week. Today, tomorrow, will be the first day of school for many kids around the country. But for those of us in our neck of the woods, of course, they've been in there for almost a month at this point. My goodness. But they're off today, which I don't understand. Mark, can you explain to me, because your kids have been in school longer than mine, why is today an off day? Can you explain that to me?
I have no idea. It feels like Olathe has some weird random off days.
I mean, is it only them? I don't know if this is other school districts. Maybe you're right.
I think Shawnee Mission's in.
Are they?
Yeah.
I mean, this is ridiculous. They had a half day on Friday. They were off yesterday, understandable. And they're off today. It's like, you just got there. What are you doing? There's literally nothing to do. You barely know the kids' names. Jeez.
They're going to forget their names by the time they come back.
Well, after 5 days, you just start to get in a rhythm. You learn the kids' names, and then you give them 4.5, 5 days off, and it's like, who are you again? Johnny, Sally, Susie, Claire, what's your name? Oh, gosh, whatever. Tomato, tomato. I don't understand it for the life of me. I mean, these school districts, they just willy-nilly throw this stuff together. And maybe you're right, Mark. Maybe it's unique to where we're at, but that could be a good Tirade Tuesday. Don't forget, today is Tuesday, so our Tirade Tuesday segment comes up at 8:30 this morning on KCMO. It is not Monday. It is Tuesday. Mike Kehoe is going to be on the show at 8:20 as well, the Missouri governor. And yesterday I posted on social media, Mike Kehoe joins us Monday at 8:20. And a bunch of people corrected me, and they said, you mean Tuesday? I was like, yeah, I'm thrown off. It's okay. I appreciate you correcting me. I got a lot of that. I'll deal with it. It's fine. Oh, my gosh. But, yeah, kids are getting back into the swing of things right now. We'll get to the 6 at 6 coming up here on KCMO Talk Radio. Top 6 stories in the 6 o'clock hour next on 95.7 FM. And we are always streaming on the KCMO Talk Radio app.
You're listening to Mundo in the Morning on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM.
6:49. Welcome back on a Tuesday. Hope you had a great Labor Day weekend. Thanks for joining us on KCMO Talk Radio. Let's do it.
It's time for the 6 at 6 on 95.7 KCMO Talk Radio. Number 1.
Well, the police in Kansas City, Missouri have named the victims killed in the downtown shooting from 9 days ago. This was the shooting at 13th and Grand that left 2 men dead and 3 others hurt, including a juvenile. According to KCPD, 24-year-old Kane Tatis and 18-year-old John Alfaro were shot and killed in a downtown parking lot near 13th and Grand on the morning of Sunday, August 24th. Police believe at this point an argument is what led up to the shooting just after 4 a.m., but at this time, KCPD has not confirmed whether any of the victims were involved in the argument. Initial reporting states one of the victims was declared dead at the scene, while the other died at the hospital just after 6:40 in the morning. Additionally, according to KCPD, the juvenile victim, a boy, was critically injured in the shooting but was improving and expected to survive. Police also reported that the other male victim was hospitalized with serious injuries, as well as a woman with non-life-threatening injuries. Their current conditions are unknown. Now, we've had a friend of the woman who was shot with non-life-threatening injuries reach out to us. She actually called in anonymously last week, and she and I have been exchanging Facebook messages. She has sent me some of the video from the parking lot that night that KCPD has in its possession, and it is ugly. You've got dozens of what looks like kids, but, they're young adults to teenagers, ending up in a parking lot and basically fighting with each other at 3 in the morning at 13th and Grand. Now, if your belief is that if only we had security in the parking lot, this would change, I would ask where the heck the cops are at 3 in the morning outside of Power and Light District. I still don't understand that, John.
I'm with you there, and I can understand that we're undermanned, but then I read a story that said they were there for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It's not like a 5-minute boom, 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 cheese at the cops.
Yes.
No, 30 minutes.
30 minutes and no one's patrolling around 13th and Grand at 3 a.m. on a Sunday after the bars get out? Come on. Thank you for that. I had not seen that, but that's embarrassing. Yeah. 30 minutes? Jeez. Got to get your act together there. I mean, I love and I will always back the Blue. I mean, we have a Back the Blue tour. But that doesn't make any sense to me. Yes, and you're right, undermanned, understaffed, 3 a.m. on a Sunday morning. But come on, you got to have somebody doing loops at Power and Light, 3 a.m. on a Sunday? No one's doing that? 30 minutes? It's the Wild West.
Number 2.
Next up, the Kansas City Royals lost their series to the Tigers over the weekend. They fell on Sunday 5-0. They are 9 games back in the division. They were off yesterday. They start a new series today against the Los Angeles Angels. So as we flip the calendar to the month of September, the Royals still have a chance, but they got to get going. They're now behind the Rangers, who are on a hot streak. The Rangers have won 6 in a row. So the Royals have to leap the Rangers and the Mariners. They're 2.5 games out of a wild card spot. But they now have to get ahead of 2 teams, not just one team, to find themselves in the playoffs with 1 month left in the season. You got any confidence over there on the other side of the glass on the Royals making the playoffs, or are you kind of like, Mark's got a Chiefs hat on, which might tell me all I need to know right now. He's in Chiefs season.
Yeah, it's after Labor Day.
He's a Mariners fan, man. Be proud.
One of my teams will get in, but
Yeah.
I don't know. For the Royals, it'll come down to that series actually in mid-September. Mariners and Royals here in Kansas City. I think that's what it'll come down to.
Oh, are they playing each other in a couple weeks?
Yep.
Oh, man.
Yep, I've got him out. I just am pulling for the above 500 finish.
Okay.
Yeah. I
All
mean,
right.
they've been running about 3 to 4 games right now at a pretty good clip. So hopefully they can at least maintain that. Maybe last year should have happened this year and vice versa. But anyway, it's about the same. I'll take this year, finishing 500 and maybe a game out or 2 of the wild card.
They are 70 and 67, 3 games over the 500 mark, but 2.5 games out of that final wild card spot.
Number 3.
Next up in the 6 at 6 here on KCMO, Chicken and Pickle is closing on Tuesday. No, not permanently. Don't worry. Across the country, 2,000 employees from each Chicken and Pickle location, we have a couple here in the Kansas City area, this is where it was founded, will be trading in their serving trays and chef's hats for charity, volunteering their time at local food banks, animal shelters, cleanup events, youth programs, and more for the 6th annual Our Hearts Are Local Day. So this is great, but it threw me off when I saw the headline on Fox 4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The headline on Fox 4 read, Chicken and Pickle closing all stores nationwide on Tuesday.
I thought I had a story.
I know. Here's why. And I'm like, clickbait, clickbait. Now,
Emulating local school districts after a holiday, they're closed.
yeah. Listen, I like a good tease, right? My job is to give you a good tease into a break and keep you coming back for more here on KCMO. So I appreciate a good tease. But I saw that. I'm like, that's a little tricky. I'm not sure I like that one. But yeah, Chicken and Pickle closed tomorrow, or today, Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
I keep thinking today's Monday. Today. But it's not because they're going anywhere. It's just their National Serve Day. And I like that. Make all the employees give back to their local communities. That's a really cool idea for Chicken and Pickle. But you're not playing any pickleball today, at least not there. Next up in the 6 at 6, keep it rolling.
Number 4.
The Powerball's at $1.3 billion. With a B, billion. No winner last night. Next drawing is going to be on Wednesday. The winning numbers drawn 8, 23, 25, 40, 53, and 5. So now we wait for a $1.3 billion Powerball, leaving the 5th largest prize in the game's history to grow even larger.
Number 5.
And next up, Mike Kehoe, the governor of Missouri, calling that special session over the weekend. They will all go back to Jeff City tomorrow, and they will go ahead, redraw the congressional districts in Missouri. They will squeeze out Emanuel Cleaver.
You mustard moo.
And Missouri will likely have 7 Republican congressional seats and then 1 Democrat congressional seat in St. Louis. So that likely coming this week. And last but certainly not least,
Number 6.
it is game week. The Chiefs kick off the season Friday, 7 p.m. in Brazil against the Chargers. Let's go. We're back in the saddle. Chiefs are back in action this week. NFL kicks off on Thursday night, and it is a great time of year, John.
Top is for everybody down at the bodega. Right. A little international player this time.
Oh, there you go. Jill Biden somewhere doing cartwheels on the bodegas. Oh, man. That's outstanding work. Absolutely outstanding work. Coming up on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. Well, speaking of the Musty Moo Moo, what is he saying about this redistricting plan? We will hear from Emanuel Cleaver next. Emmanuel Cleaver's not a happy man, but he's not making any freaking sense about it either. I mean, he's like his own worst enemy on this stuff. My goodness. So Emmanuel Cleaver, the Kansas City congressman, of course, longtime and former mayor here, a staple, a political figure as big as they come in Kansas City, is possibly on his way out. Because as Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe lined out on Friday in a Friday news dump, and Kehoe will be on the show at 8:20 this morning, they are going to special session tomorrow in Jeff City, their second one of the year. Remember, they had one in June to pass funding for the Chiefs and the Royals. Now they've got another one coming, and this one is tied into initiative petition reform, which is the thing that makes it very easy to get stuff on the ballot in Missouri, like legalizing marijuana and minimum wage increases and things like that. They'll finally do something about that, and they'll also redraw the congressional districts. And this will hurt Emmanuel Cleaver. Emmanuel Cleaver's district will go from a solid blue to a red-ish district where, unless the stars align for him, he's in major trouble when he runs for re-election next year. His district is basically going to cut Kansas City in half on the north side of Jackson County and then go all the way out east towards Columbia. That's how Emmanuel Cleaver's district is now going to look. So there was a big rally yesterday in Kansas City, and there's a bunch of people out there chanting and cheering and, upset about this. And I understand it. Like, it's gerrymandering. Let's call it what it is. It's gerrymandering. There's no doubt about it. But Emmanuel Cleaver's not helping his case because he's not making any sense. Here was Emmanuel Cleaver to Channel 41 yesterday talking about the fact that he's likely going to get squeezed out with his congressional district.
You could have two people fighting legislation in the state, in the national capital, and the school district wanting one side to win and realize that the other side will do damage. So what happens? I mean, that is just absolutely mind-bending.
Do you know what that meant, John?
I don't.
Okay.
I didn't know if what he's taking is on sale anywhere. Might be interested in that part. But
I mean, even Biden's like,
what are we talking about?
Joe's sitting there listening to Cleaver saying, "What he's taking whatever Biden took. That's what he's taking, John."
Mm-hmm.
That didn't make
mind-bending that politics works one side against the other.
Didn't make any sense.
No.
Whatever that was meant nothing to me. I mean, here's Emmanuel Cleaver trying to make the case for why we shouldn't split up Kansas City in the way that it's being split up. And he's talking about the scoreboard being against something else, and that's not good for Kansas City. I mean, I've listened to this clip half a dozen times, and I'm going to play it once more to try to figure out what the heck this means.
You could have two people fighting legislation in the state, in the national capital, and the school district wanting one side to win and realize that the other side will do damage.
What?
So what happens? I mean, that is just absolutely mind-bending.
Okay, one more chance. Anyone? Bueller? Does anybody know what that means? Because I have no clue what Emmanuel Cleaver's trying to say with that. I mean, this guy is trying to make the case for why they should not basically gerrymander his district and squeeze out Kansas City. And that's the case that you're making, Congressman Cleaver. My gosh, man. You got to learn to help yourself here. On the text line, Pete, he's talking about doing damage to his district. I guess he's the only one who's allowed to do damage to his district. Oh!
Show some RESPICT.
Wow. Okay. All right. There you go. So here's something else that Emmanuel Cleaver had to say to Channel 41 yesterday.
It will render people in Kansas City essentially silence and powerlessness. Kansas City is roughly 70-something% Democratic. And if you tear Kansas City, tear it apart, put one portion of the Kansas City area in one district and one portion in the other, the chances are they get no representation.
All right. Well, it's getting a little better. He made a little more sense there. That was a 31-second clip that could have been probably summarized in about 12 seconds.
Well, he was a little clearer being confused, I think. To your point, a little clearer on that. I kind of follow the confusion.
Oh, my gosh. It's like, dude, you've got to be your own best advocate here. You can't be urinating in the wind and hoping it doesn't hit you in the face, and that's what happened to Cleaver on that one. I mean, dude, you've had weeks to prepare for this moment. We all knew this was coming. And then you got your chance. You talk to the media. It's not like Emmanuel Cleaver's nervous. I mean, the guy's been a figurehead in this. He was a preacher, for crying out loud. He was a reverend. He's not afraid of talking. I guess he still is, technically, right? Is that how it works?
Mm-hmm.
Once you are one, you're always one. It's like he's not nervous. He theoretically knows how to speak. It's like, man, you've got a case to make here on behalf of your constituents, on behalf of Kansas City. And this is the gobbledygook you get? Jeez, man. I mean, I kind of want to feel for you here on this, but I just can't do it. I can't do it when this is what you're giving us to work with, which is absolutely nothing of substance. My gosh. 913-408-7957. You guys are rolling in with the text on a Tuesday, but they've got to be FCC compliant. You can't text the show.
That's the beauty of the text line, huh?
Well, they can say what they want. But you can't text the show and then give me something I can't use on the air. You're killing me here, Smalls. Come on now. Jeez.
We should come up with some fun words to substitute. Put the code words on the website.
That's what we can do. Oh, boy, on the text line. Pete, holy cow. Cleaver speaks like that, and he's a congressman? How is this possible? Ask Kansas City voters that. I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, that's not on me.
There's something wrong with him.
I don't know. You do with that what you want. But he's not helping his cause here at all. I will reach out to Congressman Cleaver today. I will try to get him on the show. He's been on the show before. I don't know if he's been on in this building. I know he was on in the old building a couple of times, but that's going back 5.5 years at this point. But I will get him on the show, or try to get him on the show. And if he's smart, he will come on this show and make his case. Because the people that he's trying to influence actually listen to this show. They don't watch Woke 41. And in honor of the Reverend, before we get to what happened on a major cable news channel this morning, a bombshell, as some would call it, this in honor of the Kansas City Congressman.
At the car wash, whoa, 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 talking about the car wash, yeah. Come on, y'all, and sing it for me. Car wash, woo, woo, woo. Car wash, yeah.
There you go. For the former car wash owner, Emmanuel Cleaver on KCMO. There you go. John's jiving and grooving in there. He's having a good time.
Hey,
man.
Rolls Royce at 7:13 in the morning.
Oh, man. Well, are you thinking about a new tub or shower? If so, there's only one name to know in Kansas City, and that is The Plumbing Pro. For over 40 years, The Plumbing Pro has been the new bath pro. You may have seen all the national personalities promoting tub and shower replacements on TV. But The Plumbing Pro is the local alternative to those national tub and shower replacement ads. And right now with Pete's Deal, you can get $2,000 off in 12 months, same as cash, with approved credit. Save money and time, easy to work with, low stress, and a free consultation. The website is theplumbingpro.com. That's theplumbingpro.com. You can also call 816-763-8200 and say that you want to learn more about Pete's Deal and get, yes, that free consultation. $2,000 off and 12 months, same as cash, with the Plumbing Pro. Your local alternative to the tub and shower replacements that you see on TV all the time. Steve and his team have been doing this in 40 years in Kansas City, and they can help you today. Theplumbingpro.com, theplumbingpro.com.
Dave Ramsey here, and you're listening to Pete Mundo on KCMO Talk Radio, now airing on FM at 95.7.
When you've lost one of your own, one of your most prominent voices, that is not a good sign of things to come. 7:21, good morning, happy Tuesday. Hope you had a great Labor Day weekend. Glad you're here with us to start off the short week on KCMO 95.7 FM. Morning Joe Scarborough, is now lost within his own political party on this issue of violent crime in major American cities. If you did not hear this, and you probably didn't because it's 7:20 on a Tuesday, and he said this here in the last 30 minutes or so, Morning Joe had this to say after, as you just heard from Fox News at the top of the hour, 54 people were shot in Chicago over the weekend, 8 people killed. Thankfully, here in Kansas City, we are not coming out of the long weekend, and we are not as focused on heinous violent crime like we have had to cover the last 3-4 weeks. Last week, of course, we had that prominent shooting at 13th and Grand, but we have not had to talk about that because it was not an overly violent weekend here in Kansas City, and thank goodness for that. But it's continuing to be a national storyline because of what's gone on in Washington, D.C. the last few weeks, where, of course, the White House federalized that police department, offered up National Guard help. And now you've had this debate going on to our north in Chicago, where the president said, maybe I'll help you guys. And their mayor and their governor's like, no, you will not help us. It's like, really, guys? Really? And then Labor Day weekend, what happens? They had 8 people killed, 54 people shot. The president of the United States posting on his social media here in the last hour, Chicago is the worst and most dangerous city in the world by far. Governor J.B. Pritzker needs help badly. He just doesn't know it yet. I will solve the crime problem fast, just like I did in D.C. Chicago will be safe again and soon. Make America great again. That was from the president of the United States. And even Morning Joe Scarborough here in the last hour is like, I don't think that these guys are winning on the issues like they think they are. Here's what he had to say.
Concern is you have leaders in Chicago that see this, as you say. We've been reading about this for years now, every weekend, and maybe crime has gone down. But, we had the mayor of Chicago on last week saying, oh, we don't need any more police officers. Police officers aren't the answer. No police officers. I think he said no 5 times. You look what's happening this weekend. You look so, I actually think that J.B. Pritzker should do something radical. I think he should pick up the phone, call the president, and say, and I know, you don't have the constitutional authority to deploy the National Guard here and to police my. You can do that in D.C., you can't do that in Chicago. But let's partner up. These are the most dangerous parts of my state. We would love to figure out how to have a partnership that's constitutional, that respects the sort of balance of federalism between the federal government and the state government. And let's work together to save lives. Because right now, just hey, nothing to see here moving along. No problem here. Hey, Donald Trump, we don't need you. And, the mayor talking about we're going to protect people's dignity in our city. Well, protect their lives. That's protecting their dignity. It would be radical for us to figure out a way to actually do what I've been saying from the very beginning on Washington, and that is seeing politicians creating partnerships that protect their people.
Protect their lives. That's how you protect their dignity. That's a great line by Joe Scarborough. Never thought I'd say that, but that's a great line. You protect their dignity, you protect their lives. That's outstanding. I don't know what he's taking lately, but he sounds good. I mean, whatever he's on, man, it's
I'm
it's
looking
an about
through my
face.
bingo card. I can't find that anywhere.
No, that was not on my list either. Unbelievable what's happened to him here lately. He sounds really good. He's making sense. And he's right. It's the same thing for Quentin Lucas here in Kansas City. These guys, these mayors, these governors who are just like, nope, don't want his help. Nope, he's a bad guy. I don't want the president's help. It's like, wait, hold on. As Scarborough just laid out right there, say, I would like your help in a way that is constitutional. You know, D.C. is its own island, right? I mean, the federal government can more or less do what it wants with Washington, D.C. It's not protected by federalism like states are. But if you're Quentin Lucas, if you're Brandon Johnson up there in Chicago, J.B. Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, just say, yeah, you know, of course we all want to save lives. And you know what? It would be good for your political party to try to win back some of those swing voters by admitting, yeah, we've got a problem. Yes, we want to, of course, clean up our streets. Of course, we want to make our city safer. And yeah, if it means working with this guy and he's offering some federal help, whether it's through the National Guards or DOJ, whatever it might be, we'd love to work with him on it. We'd be happy to work with him on it. That's the smart thing to do right now. It's an absolute no-brainer to go down this road. But instead, these guys don't want to do it. And I don't know if it's because of political pride or because of just political stupidity.
I'll take number 2.
Yeah, that's probably a good bet, John. It probably is a really good bet to take number 2 because nothing else makes sense. They can't take off the blinders and see what's going on and realize that actually by shifting themselves to the middle, they help themselves politically as well in this process. But instead, they'll throw their hands up and say, nope, nothing to see here. Things are great. It's like, nah, the data suggests otherwise. Why would that be?
They don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
News in 2 minutes. Dave Traubert's next.
from the nation's heartland. It's Mundo in the Morning on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
7:34. Good morning. Great to have you here on KCMO Talk Radio out of the Labor Day weekend. Dave Traubert with the Kansas Policy Institute is joining us on 95.7 FM. And where I want to start with Dave is the news last week that if you are a Johnson County, Kansas resident, you were basically told by your county commission to pound sand. They don't care. They are increasing the property tax revenues on their end by 6.5%. That's 2.5 times inflation, and they are going to get theirs even with dozens, well over 100, if not hundreds, of residents at the commission meeting in the last week or so and pleading their case for the county to keep its tax revenues somewhat under control. And Dave, they just couldn't do it. How surprised, if at all, are you by this?
Well, good morning, Pete. Thanks for having me. I'm not at all surprised. I think it's a hallmark of what we've seen develop in Johnson County over the last dozen or so years. It's really it's almost like the birth of a new political party that I call the Let Them Eat Cake Party. Its principles are you have taxpayers come before the Royal Commission begging for scraps, and the commissioners sit there stone-faced and say, no, you don't understand. We need more of your money because we still don't have enough, and there never will be enough. You're right. They're sitting on spending has grown at double the rate of inflation just in the last 5 years. They're sitting on hundreds of millions of dollars of money they've collected in the past and not spent, and they still want more.
So with that being the case then, Dave, Jeff Collier, who's running for governor, he's also the former governor in Kansas, he put up a post on social media over the weekend saying the state has to do something. Well, the state has talked about cutting property taxes, but as you and I have discussed, the state's percentage of property taxes on people's homes is very small. Is there something that they should be doing when it comes to trying to limit the amount of property tax increases that counties and cities basically take from homeowners? And these homeowners are being taxed on unrealized gains. So they're just getting squeezed here on something that they see no inherent benefit from.
That's right. And it is, there are a few simple things that can be done. And the process got started in this year's legislative session. The House and Senate couldn't come to terms. There were different opinions on how to do it. What we need is for leadership to take over and we're going to get it done. It's nice for people running for governor to say they need to do something. I think it needs to be much more specific and say what needs to be done. The next two things that need to be done, in addition to our revenue neutral system that's in place, is limit the increase in taxable assessed valuations. This is an affordability issue. We can argue till the cows come home about whether some of appraised values are accurate or not. It's really irrelevant. It comes down to affordability. And every politician in Topeka knows that property taxes are not affordable. So deal with it. Don't try to push off the responsibility and saying it's county's responsible. Don't say, I'm sorry, ma'am, you'll have to sell your house because we haven't figured out yet what's the ideal perfect plan. Get it done. There's the House and Senate they are close. The Senate wanted a fixed limit in taxable assessed. Well, they wanted it on appraisals. It should go to the House version, in my opinion, on taxable assessed. So you still have the market appraisal on your property, and what you limit, though, is the piece that is taxed.
Yeah.
And that can go up. That can limit easily by 3 or 4% a year.
So let me ask you this,
the other
Dave.
Thing,
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Well, the other thing is then you need to put the constraint on tax collections so that people like the Let Them Eat Cake County Commission led by King Kelly cannot just say, well, fine, then we'll just double the mill rate and keep getting the money we want. There has to be a protection for the individual property owner with the taxable assessed value and a restraint on total tax growth with a revenue cap.
So what about this, too? Do you have an opinion on the fact that these county commission races are always nonpartisan? And I don't think that these issues are all that partisan. I mean, I know a lot of people that may disagree with my worldview that understand Johnson County going from a $900 million budget less than a decade ago to now $1.9 billion is spending out of control. But, you know, sometimes I sit here, depending on the day, and I say, you know what? We voted for this nonsense. On the other hand, I'm like, these races are nonpartisan, and no one really has to stand on any inherent values. They just kind of talk the same old game that works on a flyer, works on a postcard, and they get elected, and then the people end up getting hosed time and time again. Do you have an opinion on what that should look like going forward?
Yeah, you know, that's a great question. The partisan issue is, to me, it doesn't really come down to Democrats and Republicans because what's a Republican these days?
Yeah.
There's like 5 different flavors, and that's been the case for Democrats for a decade. So, but there is an absolute partisan basis to this, and it comes down to a divide, in my opinion, between the people who run for office with a focus on taxpayers versus people who run for office with a focus on growing the system, or at least giving the default to the system. You're either going to go in the case of property tax, it's or any tax, it's the role is to provide the level of service that's needed at a good quality at the most affordable price. Mm-hmm. If that's not your focus, then by default, you're there to support the system.
That's well said.
And so people, you know, just declare, am I a taxpayer focused? And if that means, here's what I'll do when I get elected, and then we'll see if they do it.
Mm-hmm.
We've got people running for running as Republicans who are just part of the let them eat cake party.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. All right, Dave, in the last couple of minutes here, take me through something that you guys wrote about at the Sentinel last week. Texas takeover of failing Houston school district results in student achievement gains after just 2 years. What's the lesson here for Kansas and Missouri, and what is the story down there in Texas?
Oh, well, it's really encouraging story, Pete. In the case of Texas, the state can come in and take over a district if it's underperforming. Of course, you know, it always comes down to leadership. In Houston, the state took it over and they brought in a real leader. And that's the difference. Again, property tax, education, it all comes down to leadership. They have a leader who is focused on first admitting that we have a problem, and then we're going to put the steps in place to overcome the problem without regard to the political fallout. The focus is on the students, not on the system. And so it's superintendent there, Mike Miles, is turning the district around, just following common sense. We're going to improve outcomes. We're going to put things in place that like real curriculum. We're going to have better instruction, and we're going to realign the staff to support those goals. Now, we don't have that kind of leadership in Kansas. We don't have it in the governor's office. We don't have it at the Department of Education or the State Board of Education, and frankly, many local school boards. But we're starting to see the same kind of courage come out now. There are some small districts in Kansas, and we know this because we're working with them directly. We started an organization called the Kansas School Board Resource Center that works directly with local school boards. It's an alternative to the system-focused State School Board Association. And these superintendents and board members have the courage to put their heads up and say, we have a problem, we acknowledge it, we're going to get it fixed. And they're making really good progress. This is a really encouraging sign, whether it's coming from Houston or some of the small districts in Kansas.
That's outstanding. That is so encouraging. Dave, I'm glad you're bringing attention to it at the Sentinel, and great to talk to you here on a Tuesday morning. Have a great week, my friend.
You too, Pete.
There you go. Dave Trubert on 95.7 FM, KCMO Talk Radio. Yeah, it's a Tuesday, but yesterday was Labor Day. So we'll give you a Tuesday edition. Normally we do this on Monday of the good, the bad, and the ugly. And we'll do that next before Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe joins us in 30 minutes. It will be his first one-on-one interview in the wake of the announcement that the redistricting special session is set to begin tomorrow down in Jeff City. All coming up on KCMO.
Stream Mundo in the morning on the KCMO Talk Radio app.
I know it's a Tuesday. It's not a Monday. Normally, we give you the good, the bad, and the ugly on a Monday, but holiday yesterday, so we are going to roll it out today. Let's do it on a Monday morning.
It's time for the good, the bad, and the ugly on KCMO Talk Radio. Now on 95.7 FM.
I'm all confused. Who's on first? It is Tuesday, but yes, we're giving you a good, a bad, and an ugly. Well, the good, let's start off with the goodbye from Lee Corso. Of course, a longtime staple and figurehead on ESPN, especially on College Game Day. And Lee Corso, at 90 years old, said goodbye. It was his last broadcast. And the guy was perfect on his picks, unlike Mark, who had a bad weekend on the picks. Remember that buy, sell, hold parlay Mark gave us on Friday? He gave us like 16 teams that had to win outright. Well, he lost it on Friday night when Army lost to, Tarleton State?
Yes. Yeah. I did go 14 out of 16, though.
Yeah, this isn't horseshoes, Mark.
I know.
Sorry, buddy.
Bama lost it for me, too.
I know. Well, Lee Corso picked Florida State over Bama. Now, I think that's his alma mater, so, he was a little biased on that one.
I wonder what the Corso parlay would have paid out.
Yeah, that's right. But Lee Corso, they got a huge rating, 3.5 million viewers on Saturday morning for Lee Corso's final College Game Day. Peaked at over 5 million viewers, which is a regular season record for College Game Day, in the final quarter hour of that show leading up to the 11 a.m. kickoff time. And here's what his final headgear pick ever sounded like between Ohio State and Texas.
You've got one last headgear to make.
All right, this is one of the easiest picks I've ever made. Texas is loaded. Texas is number one. They have a Manning at quarterback. Poor Ohio State. They ain't got a chance. Give me my first love.
There it is. Here it comes.
And he ends up picking Ohio State in Ohio Stadium, and Ohio State did win the game. That being said, you can hear it there. This guy should have hung it up 5 years ago. John, whenever you start sounding like that on the air, like Lee Corso, I'm telling you it's time to go, okay? We're on the same page?
Yeah, I was curious about bringing him back one more time this year instead of maybe last, but I get it.
Yeah, he just sounded really bad. And he sounded really bad, honestly, for the last couple of seasons. He's 90, all right?
Goes with the territory.
It's time to hang it up. I mean, it's difficult to tell a legend he's got to go, but when you're slurring on the air, when you're not making sense on the air, you got to go. I mean, they gracefully did this and made it work at ESPN, but he probably should have left around COVID. That's when he should have gone.
Yeah, and you could have paid him a nice consultancy fee and say, hey, Lee, thanks. Saved the wear and tear on the trips here, buddy. Just stay home and send in your report every week, and we'll pay you.
Yeah, we'll give you a little 5-minute Zoom hit every week, right?
Yeah, and you can shoot real quick.
You can be a part of the broadcast, but we don't need you on the panel anymore. But ESPN made it work.
That's one of those deals where you just ask somebody questions. Who you got, Lee? I'll take Florida. Whatever. Make it quick.
I wonder who he'd take in the border war this weekend, but we'll never know. All right. Now, the bad from the weekend on a similar note, because it was a very busy college football weekend. Bill Belichick made his college football coaching debut yesterday at North Carolina, and he got absolutely blown out, 48-14, losing to TCU last night. And Bill Belichick had all the stars out there. Michael Jordan was at the game. Lawrence Taylor, Mia Hamm, Eric Church, Chase Rice, country music, sports legends, all out and about. And they watched Bill Belichick get smoked. I mean, Bill Belichick, if it wasn't for Tom Brady, this guy would be working at McDonald's. He'd be like Trump in his McDonald's gear on the campaign trail. That would be Bill Belichick. Without Tom Brady, this guy stinks as a coach. Let's be very clear. Which goes to show you, yes, the coach matters. I think Andy Reid is a huge reason that Patrick Mahomes has become Patrick Mahomes. But I am in no way convinced that Bill Belichick is a reason that Tom Brady became Tom Brady. I know it's one game. He's a college football coach. He's got 70 new coaches there. But wow, that was ugly last night for Belichick. That game had no juice to it. None, John.
Remember when the Patriots hired him? I go, who?
Yeah.
The guy with no sleeves on the sweatshirt that was at Cleveland?
Yeah, that was
that
in
guy?
Cleveland. Oh, gosh.
Looks like we're back there.
It does. Now we'll get to the ugly from the weekend. The ugly is how local media covers some of these police officer-involved shootings that happened over the last few days. Here's how Channel 41 reports it. Headline, busy weekend of use of force investigations, pursuits involving law enforcement. They write here, Kansas City area law enforcement agencies were involved in 4 separate investigations within 24 hours. The Kansas City Law Enforcement Accountability Project questioned police tactics involved in vehicle pursuits over the weekend. Right now, details of each investigation are limited. So let's use this one over in Independence, all right? Let's talk about this one here for a second. They write at about 1 a.m. on Sunday, the Independence Police Department was called to Truman Road on a disturbance involving armed individuals. Police said officers found a man in the backseat of a vehicle outside of an apartment building. Officers tried to question him until he produced a firearm. After the man refused commands to drop the weapon, he was shot by police and died on the scene. The police-involved incident team is investigating the incident. Now, they should, and I'm not upset with that at all. But the way the story is portrayed, they frame it as, boy, what did the cops do wrong here? And maybe the cops did do something wrong. Thankfully, we have body cameras now. But all of these stories, every single one of them, starting with this one in Independence, you have somebody who didn't listen to commands. You have somebody who has the police called out on him, who's in the backseat of a car, who's not getting out of his vehicle when ordered to by police, who then produces a firearm, refuses to drop his weapon, and then ends up getting shot by police. Yes, this is tragic. We don't want this to happen. But my goodness, can we have accountability on the other side as well? Can we look at it from the accountability of the citizens who are putting not just the police officers, and we've lost enough of those men and women in recent, weeks here around Kansas City, but they're putting the lives of cops and also everyday citizens at risk by not listening to law enforcement's commands. And they're not complicated. Get out of the car, drop the weapon. So I understand these groups, are going to make a lot of noise and they're going to say, what are the police doing wrong? Can we have some self-accountability first? Is that too much to ask? There's your good, bad, and ugly from the weekend here on 95.7 FM. Mike Kehoe, his first interview after the redistricting announcement is 15 minutes away. And next, I'll talk about the post I was thinking about all weekend on KCMO. We are just over 10 minutes away from our conversation with Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe, his first conversation since he announced over the weekend that a special session will begin tomorrow down in Jeff City, where they will redistrict the congressional map. Emmanuel Cleaver is likely to be squeezed out. Yes, that's going to happen. And Mike Kehoe will be here in just over 10 minutes to talk about that announcement from late on Friday here on 95.7 FM KCMO. So make sure you are streaming us this morning on your Alexa, on your Google Home. Just tell it to play KCMO Talk Radio or on the KCMO or the iHeart app. So this is just a post that I saw over the weekend that I've been spending a lot of time over the last 2 or 3 days thinking about. And I shared it on X. You can see it there. And it comes from Catherine Boyle. Catherine Boyle is a writer and a partner with the organization A16Z. They do software, but this post went viral. It got 1 million views over the weekend. And I thought to myself, gosh, if she's right, that's going to be fascinating for the future of this country. She posted here, elder millennials are going to be the most politically engaged and relevant leadership cohort for the next 40 years. It's because this pocket of millennials, she framed it as 1980 to 1987, remember the before times vividly. Home ownership, landlines, car phones, dial-up internet, but also a hegemonic nation and normal American life before everything got weird. Younger generations didn't experience it. Older generations may have taken it for granted. They'll dominate the left and the right for a simple reason. They remember. Now, I would change the years on that post. I think that there are people born in the early 90s who remember the before, who remember what she referred to here as like normal American life before everything got weird. And I think that she's right. I mean, if you were born in the late 90s, you don't remember a lot of it. If you were born in the 80s into the early 90s, you do remember life before everything got weird. Everything got basically just, upside down. What's left is right, what's right is left, what's up is down, what's down is up. And you look at it and you say, okay, look at the up-and-comers right now in the political landscape. You see J.D. Vance, right? You see this guy, Mamdani, in New York City mayoral candidate. You see Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. You look across the board on the left and the right, and you are seeing basically Gen X getting skipped right over. Not saying it's fair, not saying it's right, but it feels like that's what's happening to some extent. In the political landscape, you're seeing a generation get skipped over. We've had 3. Now, look at the presidents outside of Obama. And Obama technically is on that border of baby boomer Gen X. But you look at Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, and Donald Trump, the guys who have basically been in power when we get to 2028. These guys will have been in power for the last 35 years. They were all born within 3 to 4 years of each other. It's an amazing, amazing statistics that Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, and Donald Trump, who will have been president when all is said and done for basically, 20 of the last 32 years, and Joe Biden, throw him into that category as well. They're all born within basically 5 years of each other. That's amazing. They're all basically about the same age. So Gen X can be only mad at basically the generation prior to them that's held on to political power for far too long. They're the ones who screwed them. But it does look like there's then going to be a jump to the millennials who were born early 80s all the way into the mid-90s. That's where it looks like this thing is trending from here on out. And it's too bad. I feel bad for the Gen Xers who look like they may get hosed in this whole thing. But it's largely driven by the fact that you have the especially elder boomers who hung on to political power for way beyond what they should have held on to power for. And that's the part of it that I'm looking at. I'm saying to myself, well, it's kind of on them. That's where it's at. The text line is 913-408-7957. Pete, and this ties back to what you just said. Just look at Lee Corso. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. 90 years old, sitting on College game day and on that set over the weekend, slurring his way through his final broadcast. You got no argument from me on that one. None whatsoever. Now, as we turn our attention to Mike Kehoe coming up here in a few minutes, he announced this on Friday that he is getting set to call the special session. And here is what he had to say when it comes to the why behind this special session coming to Missouri. Tomorrow, they will squeeze out Emanuel Cleaver's congressional district. Yes, they will absolutely gerrymander. Let's call this what it is. It is a gerrymander. Here's what Mike Kehoe said about it.
It splits fewer counties and municipalities than the current version while preserving 2 congressional districts as they currently stand. And it retains each member of Missouri's current congressional delegation in their current districts. Again, no existing member will be displaced. They will all still live in their current district. It's simpler, cleaner, stronger. After a lot of thought, prayer, and conversation, I want to assure you that this is not a decision I've made lightly. I hope the legislature will work together to pass this map and critically needed IP reform to stay true to our Missouri First values. This is about clarity for voters and ownership of our future. And with the Missouri First map, we can deliver. Thank you, and God bless.
All right. Mike Kehoe is somebody who I think will be and already has been a really good governor for Missouri. But this is not about anything other than pure political power. That's it. Doesn't matter that, we're keeping counties whole and the people that represent their current districts are still going to live in those districts. That's a nice way to spin it. But let's be honest. This is being done for raw political power. And the one thing Mike Kehoe did not say in this 3-minute video is the real reason for why they're doing it. The real reason is because they were asked by D.C. to do it. And yes, they're gerrymandering the state. And they're doing it because, frankly, you can look at a lot of the blue states that are hyper-gerrymandered. They're responding to what other states have already done. That's what's really going on here. And I'll ask Mike Kehoe about that. I think it's a fair question to bring up. I don't have a problem with him doing it. I just want to be told the truth as to why. That's it. And I think that every Missourian, whether you agree or disagree with this move, deserves the real answer, the truthful answer to that. We'll talk to the governor of Missouri coming up next on 95.7 FM, KCMO Talk Radio.
Call Mundo 913-408-7957. Now on 95.7 FM.
Governor of Missouri Mike Kehoe is here. The Friday announcement special session gets underway tomorrow morning down in Jeff City, and that is where the plan is to change the congressional map, and that will have a major impact here in Kansas City. Governor, good morning. Thanks for being on KCMO.
Pete, it's always good to be on with you this morning. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we appreciate the time. So this congressional map, how much of this was your decision versus getting a call from the White House and them saying, hey, we think we can get one more Republican seat here. Let's try to do it.
Well, I think the Trump administration, President Trump himself, has definitely elevated kind of the conversation of where have maps been drawn, where are the fair lines, what's fair, what's not fair. But for Missouri, this has been a conversation, as you'll recall, since 2022. We got bogged down in the Senate at the time. I was lieutenant governor. With some people that were very unhappy with the map that we passed. It was a 8-2 or 6-2 map, as you know, that we have now. And there was a really, if you look at with the way the Constitution says, especially Congressional District 3 on the east side of the state, it was not compact. It was not contiguous. It did not meet all of the requirements. It was literally like a C shape that went around St. Louis and affected and broke up a lot of different counties. So it's a conversation, I would say, that's been going on in Missouri for 2 or 3 years. So I don't think it's really new to our state on what we need to do to make the map a little bit better and easier to understand for Missourians.
You know, I think I look at the map, and I think a lot of people look at the map, and, you know, we see the national conversation, and we say, hey, it seems like what's really going on here is that it's a response to what has been heavily gerrymandered blue states, and now basically there's a push on the other side of the aisle to say, hey, you know, it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. So that's not something that you said in your statement on Friday, but is it fair to say that that is part of what is going on here?
Well, certainly if you look at other Democrat states, as you pointed out, East Coast and West Coast, you don't have to go very far in the Midwest in Illinois. I would ask any of your listeners just to pull up a picture of the map for Illinois, and you'll see what really bad maps look like. And they're definitely using it to their advantage to put as many Democrats in Congress in those states as they can. And I said all along that Missouri's values don't match the Democratic values. You've seen that in our state in the last 20 or 30 years, that, you know, 90+% of our county courthouses now are all Republican. I'd say 20 years ago, that number was probably 60%. And it's what my mother told me when she was a born and raised Democrat. She didn't leave the party. They left her. So that's what's happened. As the Democrat Party has gone this extreme left, embracing a admitted socialist to be the mayor of New York City. I mean, that does not match Missouri values.
So what would you say to folks who are sitting here in Kansas City and, you know, for better or for worse, they voted for Emanuel Cleaver many times, and obviously it still is a blue city, and they feel like they are about to lose representation. What would your message be to those folks right now in Kansas City?
Well, Congressman Cleaver will still be in the 5th District, and they should still vote for him. If he's doing the job that they want him to do, then I would encourage him to vote for him. If that's if he fits what they think works best, that would be still a good fit.
How about Mark Alford? It looks like his district could be changing. Do you have concerns that with this new map, it may make for a more challenging general election for someone like a Mark Alford than maybe traditionally has been the case in that 4th congressional district?
Well, whenever you move lines in any map, you know, with every action, there's a reaction. So, but I would say that Mark has done such a good job representing his constituents. You've seen where a lot of Congress people won't even go out and have town halls right now. Mark is aggressively out there doing them just to make sure people have a chance to have their voice heard. And he has done such a good job for us. I've been very impressed with what he's done, and I'm not sure that he'll have a problem. You never want to take your race for granted. His lines will change a little bit should the map pass, but it should be good.
All right, so you feel good about where Mark Alford's at. Is there when you look at the breakdown of these seats, especially the ones in the Kansas City area, Sam Graves, Mark Alford, and then this new Cleaver district, are they like R plus 10 or they are plus 15 Republican. When you look at the breakdown of just the voter registration in these districts, do you know what those are for the Kansas City area?
I've seen the chart. I don't have it in front of me. Not in the Kansas City area. You're not going to get those big plus R numbers. You would in southeast or southwest Missouri. I'm going to say most of those districts are probably R plus 8 to 10.
Okay.
But look, at the Kansas City region now will have 3 congressional members together fighting for what's best for that region. And I think anytime you can put 3 versus 1, that's probably a good scenario.
Now that this 5th district is going to be more competitive, do you plan to have any endorsements as a lot of Republicans say, hey, I think I can run or should run for this seat in the 5th congressional district?
Yeah, I haven't really had any conversations with anybody. Nobody's reached out to me. I think everybody's going to wait to see what the House and Senate do. If this map, if this version is the Missouri First map, we call it, is what's going to work, then I'm sure there'll be people interested in taking a look at that seat.
Yeah, absolutely. Mike Kehoe, the Missouri governor, is here on KCMO. So you guys go back in the session tomorrow. What is your confidence level that this thing ultimately does get passed and get done?
Well, it's going to take conversation. Obviously, the House will start the version of the bill tomorrow when they come in. It'll take a few days to get through there. They'll have hearings, public testimony, et cetera. I think there's a chance we can get it through because, again, Missourians don't associate with the crazy left policies that we've seen come out of the Democrat Party in D.C. So I think there's a good chance, but you never, nothing's certain in that building. You and I have been around that building a long time. Nothing's ever certain.
Do those dogs have your back in the background, or are they Cleaver supporters back there?
Well, they're as you know, Pete, I'm trying to get thin like you, so I got to walk every morning.
Oh, I like that. That's good. That's good. That's very good. Mike Kehoe's here on KCMO. Hey, I do want to ask you while we have you on the phone here, Governor, because it's I don't know what you'd call it at this point, $1 billion question. Have you heard from our friends with the Chiefs and the Royals here the last couple of weeks?
Pete, I would have been very disappointed if you didn't ask me a question about the Chiefs and the Royals. You've been a great host to bring out all of the facts surrounding that. As you know, during our first special session back in June, the legislature passed a economic development package to keep those 2 businesses in Missouri, along with their employees and the economic impact that they offer to our state. We're waiting to see on what Jackson County is. As you know, multiple kind of resources have to come together to make that package complete. So Jackson County, I know, is looking at some options. I'm in constant conversation with the ownership of both the Royals and the Chiefs and their management team. And we're working hard to make sure those teams stay where they belong in Missouri.
Well, the Kansas Senate president said on this show 2 weeks ago that if he was a betting man, he would bet on not just the Royals, but the Chiefs coming to Kansas. If Mike Kehoe was a betting man, what would he say right now?
I like where they stay right now. I like where they play now. I like the state they play in, I should say. I think, as you know, the Royals are going to be looking for sure for a new complex. And look, Arrowhead Stadium is the legacy stadium, and not many of those left. And the average Chief fan likes that experience. They don't want some kind of cushioned indoor type dome experience. They love the legacy stadium, and that's why it's the loudest stadium. That's why it's toughest to play in for opponents. I think the Hunt family, as long as we can be competitive along with Jackson County, will try to stay in the stadium that was built for them.
There you go. Mike Kehoe on KCMO Talk Radio, getting those steps in as well as we start a new week and what will be a busy week in Jeff City. Thank you, Governor. Appreciate the time.
All right, buddy. Always good to talk to you. Thanks for having me.
All right, you as well. Mike Kehoe on 95.7 FM. Coming up, we got Tirade Tuesday. Yes, it's a Tuesday. It's not a Monday. Line them up. Whatever you want to rant on. 913-408-7957.
Hey, it's Kevin Kietzman. Stick around. I'm coming up at 10 o'clock right after Pete Mundo on KCMO 95.7 FM.
8:34. It is that time of the week here on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. And we're always streaming on the KCMO Talk Radio app. Yes, it's not Monday. It is Tuesday.
It's time for Tirade Tuesday on 95.7 FM and 710 AM. KCMO.
How dare you?
It's morning, so it's Mundo.
913-408-7957. That's right. Coming out of a holiday weekend, sometimes it can get a little slow, but do not let that be the case. Whatever is on your mind, whatever you want to rant on, Tirade Tuesday is your chance and your opportunity to do it. Phones are open. John and Mark will hook you up at 913-408-7957. On a Tirade Tuesday, let's start off with Carl in Independence. Carl, what's your tirade? Go ahead.
Hi, Pete. Last few weeks, I've had the misfortune to have to travel in downtown Kansas City and generally around the city. And I swear to you, if we had morel mushrooms that pop up the same frequency as these orange cones, we would be in Fat City. At one point, where I got to one point, I was on a detour, I got to an intersection, there was a detour on a detour. And it doesn't matter where here or there is, you can't get there from here. So I'm asking our good city fathers, when you're planning all this stuff, just for a few moments, please think of this little people who have to get around in this town. And think about these poor people who are trying to get home out of downtown. At the end of the day, they're tired, they're hungry, and they're stuck in a construction traffic jam.
Yeah, it doesn't help, Carl, when you got police tape all over the place as well. That's problematic, too.
Right on.
All right. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you. 913-408-7957. Tirade Tuesday. The phones are open. 913-408-7957. Whatever you want to rant about on a Tuesday morning, now is your chance to do it on 95.7 FM KCMO. Let's go to John in Lewisburg. John, go ahead. What's your tirade?
The scam we call our U.S. Congress. I don't care if it's a Republican, Democrat, or an independent. You've got to be a fool with your head in the sand not to realize they're there to enrich themselves. And the latest example, Representative Ilhan Omar, 2019, had a negative net worth of $45,000. 6 years later, she's worth over $30 million. It's time for this to end, Pete.
No complaints here, John in Lewisburg. None whatsoever, my man. I appreciate you. Yep, Ilhan Omar, a Democrat congresswoman out of Minneapolis, but as John in Lewisburg just noted, this is across party lines. Ilhan Omar reported a net worth of up to $30 million in her latest financial disclosure, a document filed just months after the congresswoman dismissed claims she was a millionaire. That is unbelievable. For someone who is making $174,000 a year to now be suddenly worth $30 million? Wow. How about that? It is good to be a member of Congress. 913-408-7957. Whatever is on your mind. Now is your chance to get it off your chest on a Tirade Tuesday on KCMO. John in Topeka, go ahead.
Good morning. My tirade is these people that are in such a big hurry that don't respect the fact that those buses with the red flashing lights really are carrying precious cargo, and then they go flying past them. Oh, it makes me mad. I just want to take my semi and smash into them. I really do.
Well, don't
I'm
do
like,
that.
Oh, you guys.
Don't do that.
I know. I mean, I'm a professional. I'm not supposed to do that. I'm a professional. I'm not supposed to do that. But still, I feel like, man, like you guys are in such a big hurry. But maybe start 5 minutes earlier and get through there before the bus comes through. I mean, because the bus is always on the same route, basically the same time every day. start out 10 minutes earlier or start 10 minutes later, but don't run the red lights and trying to get in a big hurry around those buses.
I'm with you there, John in Topeka. Well done, my man. 913-408-7957. 913-408-7957 on a tirade Tuesday. Phones are open, and we'll get you on. Let's keep the run of Johns going. John and Gardner, what is your tirade, my man?
Hey, Pete, good morning. I got another traffic complaint, too. I drive a delivery van. I'm on the highway a lot, and these idiots on these little Stinger, I don't know if they're motorcycles or mopeds or what, but, I'm going 60-plus miles down the highway. You get like two of these idiots, like they're tag teaming or trying to race each other, and they're going like 90, dodging in and out of cars, and it's stupid. I mean, it's pain in the butt, but it's also like dangerous. It looks dangerous as hell to me. I don't know. It's just very annoying.
Well, I don't blame you one bit. I mean, the driving got a lot worse during and then after COVID. I think that's when it got exponentially worse.
A lot of things changed.
Yep. Well, ain't that the truth? That is the understatement of the segment. You're right about that, John. 913-408-7957. Tirade Tuesday. Paul in Kansas City, go.
Hey, Pete, my tirade's against the mainstream media being disingenuous again. They keep hauling out these experts saying from the Pentagon, these National Guard aren't trained for this law enforcement mission. Well, if you look at their right arm, you'll see a little two letters, MP. You know what that stands for, Pete? Military Police. They're trained right here in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. Military police for all you Waldo Democrats. My gosh, such a disingenuous.
What's with the picking on Waldo? What's that all about?
Well, they just keep coming out. The National Guard can't come here. They're not trained for law enforcement. Yes, we are. Military police.
Yep, there you go. Thank you. Thank you, Paul. Well done, my man. I appreciate that. 913-408-7957. Tirade Tuesday. Sandra and Lee Summit. What do you got, Sandra?
Good morning. Hi. My tirade this Tuesday is people that do not clean up after their dogs on the concrete sidewalks. When I go to take my dog out, I don't want to be stepping in someone else's dog stuff, and I'd appreciate if people would clean it up.
That is excellent, Sandra. I am so on board with you and with that, and boy, I could not agree more. I don't get it. You own a dog and you don't have a bag? What are you doing? It's like walking out of your house without shoes on, John.
Poo on the floor.
Yeah.
I think we've heard that today, haven't we?
And apparently a lot more of that, too.
Yes, that's going around.
If I was a betting man. Brianna, good morning. What's your tirade?
Hi, good morning. Generation Z and their phones, dude. Just always on the phone, I buy the newspaper. I bought the Kansas City Star the last 2 weeks. I love reading the paper.
You like reading the Kansas City Star?
Yeah, I love the newspaper. I was born in the 90s, December 17th, 1993.
You were born in 93 and you love picking up an old school paper.
Yeah, I bought it at Hy-Vee the other day. And they were like, she didn't even know how to scan it. She's like, oh, I got to call my manager. She's like, I got to call the manager. I was like, dude, how many people have bought the newspaper? She's like, you're the first one. I'm like, how long have you worked here? She's like, a year.
Now, Brianna, are you new to Kansas City by chance?
I've lived here for 1 year. I am a flight attendant, and I moved up here a year ago. And actually, do you want to hear the coolest thing ever? I had the honor of flying J.D. Vance for the Donald Trump campaign last summer.
How about that, Brianna? That's pretty cool stuff. Well, welcome to Kansas City. I know you're not new, but welcome to Kansas City. And the only media you're going to need is right here on KCMO. I would save your money with the Star. Go buy yourself a coffee or something, and we'll catch you up on the news here every morning on KCMO. Is that a deal?
I love it. Thank you. You guys are the best. I listen to you all the time.
Thank you, Brianna. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
That's outstanding. All right, that's we're accomplishing something
Please
here.
return your tray and seat backs to their upright position.
Oh, God bless her. That is a tough job, man. That is a very tough job.
Intimate confines.
Oh, man. That is, God bless her. I guess she won't get all that agitated reading the Star, though, because in fairness, her job gives her plenty of agitation, I've got to imagine. I mean, dealing with some of the knuckleheads we get on airplanes these days, no one's got any common courtesy. I could make that a tirade Tuesday, but, this is not my segment, okay? It's your segment. So I don't want to go on my own tirade because I can do that at any time. This is your time frame here on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM, 913-408-7957. Last one, Jeff and Shawnee, make it quick, buddy. What's up?
I'm going to make it quick. Hey, the Kelsey brothers and Kelsey's new wife-to-be, they're the new Kardashians. So buckle up, America. It's going to be a long ride.
There you go. It's going to be a long ride.
Can I ask one more thing? Can I ask one more thing?
I'm feeling generous. What do you got, Jeff? Don't screw it up.
I miss Larry in Prairie Village, man. He's the reason why I started calling in. Does anybody know where Larry is in Prairie Village? I love that guy.
No one knows.
I hope he's doing great.
No one knows what happened to Larry in Prairie Village. I don't think we've heard from him since November 5th of 2024, a day that will live in celebration. Some may say infamy for Larry's case. But I don't know. No one knows what happened to him. I think he might have called in like February. He said he battling some health issues and wasn't waking up as early, so he wasn't checking in. But that's going on 6-7 months now. So to answer your question, I have no idea. But there you go, all over the map. We heard from drivers. We heard from flight attendants. We heard from regulars. We heard from new voices. All over
Johns.
the map. Yes, we had a run of Johns this morning on a Tirade Tuesday. Makes sense of that. 8:45. Great to be back starting the post-Labor Day week here on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. We're always streaming on that KCMO Talk Radio app. 913-408-7957 is how you can join us on KCMO. Coming up next, well, at the national level, somebody was asking this morning whether or not free buses work. I think Kansas City can give you that answer, right? We'll tell you who was talking about it with the audio next on KCMO.
It's Mundo in the Morning. Now on FM at 95.7. Set a preset on your radio. KCMO Talk Radio.
The media is overly obsessed with this New York City mayor's race, but it's because many of them live there and will be impacted by it, so they want the rest of the country to care about it. I don't think it's as big a national story as Fox News or MSNBC or any of them make it out to be. That being said, they talked about something this morning that ties into an experiment we have tried here in Kansas City, and that is free bus services. So that is one of those things that the guy running for New York City mayor, the leader, and he's a self-described socialist, Mamdani, has advocated on behalf of having free buses and, basically just free everything. That's part of the plan. Everything's free. Whatever you want, we got it to you. It's free. It's free. It's free. That's my pitch. Everything is free. And it's probably going to land the guy in the mayor's house. I mean, that's probably what's going to happen here because people are just suckers for the free word.
People are aroused. I haven't seen people so aroused in a very, very long time.
It's crazy. That's what you see, though. So this morning on MSNBC, they're debating this free buses. And the guest on the show is their former mayor in that city, Bill de Blasio. Remember him? He kind of looks like Big Bird. I don't know.
Striking resemblance.
Yeah, there's definitely a resemblance there. So he touts some of Mamdani's proposals, including free buses. Here's what he had to say. All right, hold on. We're building the hype. We're building the anticipation. This is MSNBC this morning. Here we go.
Free buses.
And who runs that?
The city of New York runs it just like we run so many other services. And the bottom line here is to think about the free buses again. Free buses has been proven to work in many parts of the country.
Where?
I'll get you a list of cities, but the bottom line is it is something that allows people to, one, reduce their costs, which people are overwhelmed by, to get into mass transit more. It works because we know that if people are given a quality alternative they can afford, they'll use it.
Well, de Blasio will probably get back to Morning Joe on MSNBC and list Kansas City as a place where free buses has been a success. And I'm here to tell you, it has not been a success, okay?
No, I think never has the phrase answers on a postage stamp been more appropriate.
Yeah.
They'll fit on a stamp.
They will. So if you think that bus drivers packing heat is your idea of free buses working, then yes, free buses are definitely working in Kansas City. If you like the idea of the homeless harassing working class people, then yes, free buses are working in Kansas City. If you think that criminals being allowed to nonchalantly jump on and off the bus and ride around town at free will is a good thing, then yes, free buses are working. But if you think any of those things are maybe wrong or should not be happening, then no, free buses are an absolute utter failure. We've talked to the mayor about this before here on KCMO. Obviously, he does not agree with that. But let's be very clear as to why we even have free buses in this town to begin with. It's because we invested hundreds of millions of dollars in a streetcar to nowhere that was free. It was free because, well, they knew if they charged for it, it wouldn't get anywhere close to the ridership that it gets right now. And that ridership still is relatively scant when you talk about the investment that we put into it. So they said, well, we got to do something. And in the wake of COVID, what happened? They said, you know what we're going to do? We are going to go ahead and make the buses free. Because, yeah, we should not have tourists and out-of-towners riding a streetcar for free and then charge working class and working poor people for a bus. So let's have free buses. It sounds so good on paper. Like all of these bad ideas, they sound good on paper until you implement them and you realize some of the problems that comes with free mass transit, John.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch, the KCATA is what, $70 million in the hole?
Oh,
something like that.
I think it's 30 or 40.
Yeah, okay. I guess that was their total budget, but they were way short of their budget.
They want 120 mil, and the city's like, yeah, we can get you to 80, 90, maybe 100. And now it's like, how are we going to make up some of that? Now, in fairness, you can't make it all up with fares. but you can at least put a dent in it.
First comment there after that video there is, he probably meant Kansas City. Free busing and government-owned grocery stores. It's going great.
Right.
Yes.
Bingo.
Yes. Yeah, I see that here. The first commenter on this post is from a guy saying he probably meant Kansas City, home of both the free buses and government-owned grocery stores. It's going great. Oh, it's going great. It sure is. Unbelievable. Even when we're not trying to be in the national spotlight, we're like kind of on the periphery of all these major national stories going on right now.
Right.
Right? Like the crime issue is D.C., it's Chicago, but like we're here with a major problem saying, hey, we'll take the help. Hey, Donnie, come on, baby, let's go. We're here for you. But we're getting overlooked. On the free buses and the government-run grocery stores. Well, yes, the Market Fresh was not a true government-run grocery store. It was subsidized to the tune of $30 million, so certainly got plenty of money from the city. We're kind of like just on the outside of making the inside of all these big national stories and what's happening around the country. But we've got a lot of examples of those things failing right in our backyard. And that's the frustrating part as well. 913-408-7957. We got an hour to go on KCMO Talk Radio. You know who we have not heard from yet this morning here on KCMO? That's the Kansas City Mayor, Quentin Lucas. He put out a video late on Friday night about the redistricting plans in Missouri. And there's a common belief that the mayor always wanted to replace Emmanuel Cleaver. That was his next political step. Knowing him not well, but a little bit, I've never believed that to be the case, in part because he knew Emmanuel Cleaver would not let it happen. There is beef between the two, and I'm just here to tell you, Emmanuel Cleaver does not want to be succeeded by Quentin Lucas in Congress. He doesn't. So with that, this is not as much about Quentin Lucas and I think his wants or his political needs. It's more about him, I think, trying to look like potentially the savior in blocking this redistricting attempt in Jeff City. But I don't think the mayor is going to be making the inroads on this that he thinks he's going to be making. Here's what the mayor of Kansas City, Quentin Lucas, dropped on Friday night after Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe announced that they will have a special session. It will start tomorrow in Jeff City, and they will plan to redistrict the congressional map from a 6 Republican, 2 Democrat map to a 7-1 map, and that Emmanuel Cleaver in Kansas City is where the most changes are going to be happening.
Hi, I'm Kansas City Mayor Quentin Lucas. I didn't expect to be in the office Friday night before Labor Day weekend, but like many of you, I just saw a message from Missouri's governor. In it, he talks about redistricting. Redistricting that is going to deprive our voices in cities large and small, and that's being done solely for D.C. special interests. Let me be clear. This is not a debate about what's best for Missourians. This is about what's best for people who want to battle political elites in California and New York, Washington, Texas, and beyond. I was elected to serve Missouri and elected to serve Kansas City. And what we know is true is this. Kansas City deserves a unified voice in the United States Congress. Kansas Cityans deserve to have their voices counted fairly at the ballot box, not through any type of initiative petition reform. And more than anything, we want to make sure that what is right, that we get a chance to have candidates of our choosing going to Congress and to Jefferson City. We know that if we win a majority on issues of all Missourians, then that should be the voice of Missouri. And more than anything, we know that this is about how we make our families better, our communities safer, and our state stronger. I'm not interested in solving the political battles of Washington. I'm interested in what's happening in your towns, in your cities, and certainly in mine. We're going to fight hard over the next several weeks to make sure that we push back against redistricting. And if we fail, we'll fight at the ballot box. And when we fight, indeed, in the long term, we do win. I hope you'll stand with me. But more than anything, I hope all Missourians, including our legislators, find a backbone and do what's right.
Oh, he went there. Find a backbone, do what's right. I don't think you're helping your cause there, Mr. Mayor. I don't think threatening Republicans in Jeff City and telling them to find a backbone is going to have the intended results that you want. In fact, I don't think the video is intended to have the results that you want. And what I actually think was going on here is the video was really about feeding the Democrat base. But it came off, at the surface area at least, as if it was a message for Republicans, but it really wasn't. It was a message for the Democrat base. And that's fine. That's what his message, frankly, should be about, politically speaking. But when you listen to it, it looks like he's talking to Republicans, and that's how he wants to make it come across. But what he's really doing is signaling to his own base, I'm going to fight this one. The reality is there's nothing he can do. There's not a Republican in Jeff City who's going to be like, let me see how Quentin Lucas feels about this. That Republican does not exist. I promise you. After the last few years and how, things have gone politically in Kansas City and around the state, that's not something that anyone's going to do. No one on the Republican side is waiting to get that phone call from Quentin Lucas to lobby for why this map is not a good idea. And the mayor, deep down, he knows that, right? So it's just about looking like he's doing something. Mm-hmm. and looking like he's fighting. And good for him. But it will not result in anything different happening. It's going to pass unless there's basically just too much fighting from Republicans on the inside, John.
Don't you dare take out the old man who wasn't going to have me replace him. Right?
Yes.
It's a new lease on life for him, but he's going to, methinks thou dost protest too much.
Yeah, there's definitely some of that going on. So now it's like, all right, what is Mike Kehoe saying? Well, the governor of Missouri was on the show this morning. He had his first interview in the wake of the announcement on Friday that they are going into a special session starting tomorrow on this. And the first thing that Mike Kehoe had to say, if you missed it, it'll be up on the podcast after the show, was this.
Well, I think the Trump administration, President Trump himself, has definitely elevated kind of the conversation of where have maps been drawn, where are the fair lines, what's fair, what's not fair. But for Missouri, this has been a conversation, as you'll recall, since 2022. We got bogged down in the Senate at the time. I was lieutenant governor with some people that were very unhappy with the map that we passed. It was a 8-2 or 6-2 map, as you know, that we have now. And there was a really, if you look at with the way the Constitution says, especially Congressional District 3 on the east side of the state, it was not compact. It was not contiguous. It did not meet all of the requirements. It was literally like a C shape that went around St. Louis and affected and broke up a lot of different counties. So it's a conversation, I would say, that's been going on in Missouri for 2 or 3 years. So I don't think it's really new to our state on what we need to do to make the map a little bit better and easier to understand for Missouri.
Yeah, but what also is going on here, let's be clear, and I asked Kehoe about this, this is really a drive to call it what it is, and I know that he won't do it for obvious political reasons, but it's gerrymandering Missouri in response to Illinois, in response to California. I would maybe argue in response to Kansas City. Don't forget, Kansas City redrew its own city district map in 2021. And the Northland used to be always divided by east and west. There was a west Northland and an east Northland. What Kansas City did at the time was they redrew the map for a north-south divide. Why? Because that basically just gave you one true conservative district in Kansas City in the North Northland, and the South Northland became more of a blue-ish district. So instead of having that divide east-west, it became a north-south divide in the Northland, and that actually helped the Democrat Party in the Northland. So that's why they did it. So Quentin Lucas has done gerrymandering in his own city, and now he's upset about it being done at the state level. He can have beef with it, but like all politicians, he doesn't really have a leg to stand on this one.
They went from the east-west thing to north-south to facilitate their Civil War analogies. Remember, they did do some of that. Was maybe in the paper.
Yeah, that's
remember
right.
that silliness.
Oh, that was so dumb. I remember that from the Kansas City Star, like most things. Mike, go ahead. You're on KCMO.
Hey, you know what's interesting is, of course, they're getting the signs ready to go out there, and the new signs if they haven't protested already. But I'm thinking about Quentin and the mayor of Chicago and all these people. They can talk all these tough stuff because they've got Soros money or somebody's money, millions of dollars just waiting for them to back up whatever they need to say, and they just throw down like they're the tough guy. The irony of it is everything they say in their speeches validates the need to redistrict in many ways. It's really weird how they say these things and what they want and what they're seeking, but the safety of the people and the redistricting and making it look like Missouri, it probably needs to be redistricted a little bit. So he's basically making the argument for doing it, but he doesn't know that.
Yeah, well, now he's also threatening to he's threatening to run against Mark Alford potentially in the 4th Congressional District. That would be fun. I would love that. For this show, that would be wildly entertaining.
It would be a great battle because they both speak their mind very well. I mean, it would actually be two articulate men going at it. That would be fun to watch.
I would love every second of it. So, you know what? I'm here to say, Mr. Mayor, run against Quentin Lucas. Run, baby, run. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate the call. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm here for that. That will be wildly entertaining. And I will offer to host the first debate between the two. What do you think? I think that would work out well. Oh, man. 913-408-7957. The mayor also putting up on social media. This new Missouri map was written by a 23-year-old bro in Washington, D.C., who has never walked into a public school cafeteria in Jackson, Clay, Platte, or northern Cass County. Own goal incoming. What he's implying there is that Democrats may actually win more seats in Missouri because of how this redistricting is being set up. That's a stretch. That is a stretch, Mr. Mayor, a big-time stretch. 913-408-7957. Let's fit in real quick. Tim in the Northland. Go ahead, Tim.
Good morning, Mundo. I live in the south part of Clay County. I mean, I'm a mile from the river, man.
Yeah.
So I used to have Sam Graves as my rep, and then I got gerrymandered into Cleaver.
Yeah.
I want to secede from Kansas City. I think we should cut it off right at the river, man.
Well, you're going to be back in Sam Graves' district. That's what's going to happen here for you.
I'll be happy about that because I really consider Mark Alford my rep now.
Yeah. Well, you'll get back to Sam Graves. You'll be in the Sam Graves district. Sound good?
That sounds good. Does Cleaver ever get out of his office in D.C.? I think he has a cot or a bed or something there in his office, and he never leaves it. But he pays people to vote for him in his district. So,
yeah, it's listen, it's a good gig if you can get it. Thank you. I appreciate you, Tim. I mean, he's 80 years old. I hope he has a normal bed somewhere he sleeps in. Not going to be good on the back if that's the case. Coming up next, Coldplay is under fire. Another viral moment for Coldplay, but of the very different variety. They're catching a lot of heat. We'll tell you why next.
If it's happening in KCMO, it's on KCMO 95.7 FM. Here's Pete Mundo.
For what, the second time in the last few weeks, Coldplay is once again under fire, but for very different reasons. After what happened at their concert at Wembley Stadium in the UK on Sunday night. And shame on Chris Martin. You know, Chris, can you just go back to shaming people in the fan who are in the crowd and the fans who are cheating on their spouses? Can you go back to that, please, Chris? My gosh. So what happened here is Chris Martin sparked outrage after he invited two fans on stage to join him. And they happen to be Israeli. Well, what does Chris Martin then have to do? He's got to go down the apology tour route. He has to go down the road of recognizing Palestine and doing all that, woke-a-doke anti-Israel nonsense. And here is what it sounded like at his concert on Sunday night.
Where did you come from today? From Israel. Okay, well. Okay, well, listen. I'm going to say this. I'm very grateful that you're here as humans, and I'm treating you as equal humans on earth, regardless of where you come from or don't come from. Thank you for being here. We're grateful, and thank you for being loving and kind. Okay, I'm writing a sign. And although it's controversial, maybe, I also want to welcome people in the audience from Palestine, because we have a belief that we're all equally human. And, thank you for being here. I'm very happy to see you. Look at your beautiful green eyes. We have a song called Green Eyes. Yeah, we should re-sing it for you, I think. Okay, we believe in magic, it says. Very beautifully colored in.
All right, cut the jackass. That's enough. Stop. Okay, that's enough. So Chris Martin, instead of just saying, oh, you're from Israel, great, thanks for being here. Let's now, they're basically sitting there being a part of the song. And you could hear a smattering of boos, which, boy, talk about changes, demographic changes in the UK. We'll save that topic for another day. But things have changed dramatically there over the last several years. That's why you hear not even a smattering. You could hear pretty robust booing from the crowd after these two fans who just happened to be on stage with Chris Martin say they're Israeli. And instead of Martin just ignoring the boos and saying, hey, thanks for being here, let's play the song, yada, yada, he goes into this big soliloquy about, oh, we're all humans on earth and thank you for being loving and kind. It's like, wait, what is that supposed? Talk about a backhanded compliment right there. Saying to two young Jewish women, thank you for being loving and kind, as if what? Those Israelis are not inherently loving and kind because they find themselves at war with people who want to kill them, with Hamas leaders who still have Israeli hostages going on 2 years at this point. It was such a backhanded compliment from Chris Martin, as if, I don't think of you people as being loving and kind. So thank you for being loving and kind. By the way, you don't know them. They're two fans sitting next to you on stage. How do you even know that?
I wish they would have said what they think of Chris Martin.
Yeah, give them the mic.
40-year-old virgin joke.
Yeah. And then he's got to bring up the whole Palestine thing, and he does it, and there's massive cheers from the crowd. And he goes on to say, oh, we're all equally human here. Okay. That's the approach you want to take? Just defend your fans. That's all you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
Ignore those booing. You don't have to address every person that boos you at a concert. Ignore them. Move on with the show. Hey, you're Israeli. Thanks for being here. Let's get to whatever, you got them on stage to do. You don't have to go down that playing both sides role, Chris Martin.
What do you think he is, Bob Barker? Welcome to the contest.
No,
yeah.
That is completely unnecessary. And, you think about a night that should be about celebration and excitement and awe, and instead these two girls basically end up getting humiliated on the stage because Chris Martin lacks the basic understanding of things that he preaches. That's what this is all about. So for the love of God, Chris Martin, do a little better on this, would you, please?
Go back to the laser bracelet thing.
Yeah, I'm good with that. And if you want to find a couple of people cheating in the audience, I'm okay with that too. Man. Our caller of the day we'll get to, and it was a gem. A lot packed into this one. We'll share next.
Hey, it's Kevin Kietzman. Stick around. I'm coming up at 10 o'clock right after Pete Mundo on KCMO 95.7 FM.
Tuesday morning, not a Monday. I know it feels like a Monday after the Labor Day weekend. I hope you had a great one, but it was a tirade Tuesday morning here on KCMO. And that is where we found today's caller of the day that needs no introduction.
It's the Mundo in the Morning Caller of the Day on KCMO Talk Radio. Now on FM at 95.7.
Brianna, good morning. What's your tirade?
Hi, good morning. Generation Z and their phones, dude. Just always on the phone, I buy the newspaper. I bought the Kansas City Star the last 2 weeks. I love reading the paper.
You like reading the Kansas City Star?
Yeah, I love the newspaper. I was born in the 90s, December 17th, 1993.
You were born in 93 and you love picking up an old school paper.
Yeah, I bought it at Hy-Vee the other day, and they were like, she didn't even know how to scan it. She's like, oh, I got to call my manager. She's like, I got to call the manager. I was like, dude, how many people have bought the newspaper? She's like, you're the first one. I'm like, how long have you worked here? She's like, a year.
Now, Brianna, are you new to Kansas City by chance?
I've lived here for 1 year. I am a flight attendant, and I moved up here a year ago. And actually, do you want to hear the coolest thing ever? I had the honor of flying J.D. Vance for the Donald Trump campaign last summer.
How about that, Brianna? That's pretty cool stuff. Well, welcome to Kansas City. I know you're not new, but welcome to Kansas City. And the only media you're going to need is right here on KCMO. I would save your money with the Star. Go buy yourself a coffee or something, and we'll catch you up on the news here every morning on KCMO. Is that a deal?
I love it. Thank you. You guys are the best. I listen to you all the time.
Thank you, Brianna. Have a great day.
You too.
There you go. Brianna in Kansas City, our caller of the day on KCMO Talk Radio. So we do have some new breaking news that just came down here. Actually, I see the YouTube video dropped about 15 hours ago, but I have not seen this reported anywhere in local media. There is another entrant into the Kansas governor's race coming up, of course, next year. And it is a name that we have mentioned a couple of times on the show in the last couple of weeks. This was long expected to be the case. He is a local Johnson County businessman. His name is Philip Sarnecki, and he is going to run as the outsider businessman, Donald Trump-esque candidate. It's a long video. It's a 3-minute video. So, I mean, right out of the gates, I'm like, is this a documentary or a ad campaign? I'm sorry, it's just too long. But let's roll some of this, Mark. I may have you fast forward to about the 150 mark. That's where it actually gets pretty good. So let's run the first 30 seconds, though, and see what it sounds like.
There was a famous TV commercial where the guy came on the screen and said, I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV. Well, my name is Philip Sarnecki. I'm not a politician, and I am certainly not going to play one on TV either. I'm just a Kansas dad, husband, and businessman who is tired of Republicans losing in Kansas. And that is why I'm running for governor. President Trump warned us we would get tired of winning, and he's winning a lot. But here in Kansas, Republicans keep losing. That is over. We're going to win.
All right, stop right there. We're getting to some good stuff here. He's not wrong in a lot of what he's saying. What Republicans are really doing is just losing the governor's race 2 straight times. I mean, they've got supermajorities in the House. They've got a supermajority in the Senate. They've got those numbers, but because they have failed in the governor's race the last couple of times between Derek Schmidt, who was sabotaged by Gomer Pyle, and then prior to that, Chris Kobach in 2018, that's the real reason that Kansas finds itself in a losing position. But Kansas also has a history of doing this, voting for Republicans overwhelmingly for president and for U.S. Senate, but then weirdly, obviously, voting for Democrat governors. So Sarnecki's got a good point that he's making there. It's a little more nuanced than the overall point he's trying to make, but it's not wrong. Let's go to like the 150 mark on that video, Mark. It starts to get a little bit better there. Took almost 2 minutes to get to the good stuff, but there is some good stuff there. Let's roll it.
Is what the career politicians in Kansas have brought us. Incompetence and losing. Like President Trump, I've never run for office before, but I built a great, successful business. It's time to bring a business approach to government and shake up the system. We've got to get away from the career politician mindset. Our founding fathers never envisioned that career politicians would even exist. In fact, that's what they were trying to get away from. As we go through this campaign, we'll have the fancy commercials with pictures of my family, the old rundown 900 square foot home I grew up in, wheat fields waving in the wind, apple pie, and all that stuff. And you'll learn a lot more about me, and the politicians running against me will attack me, of course. One thing I need to tell you right off the bat, my faith in God is the center of my life. As President Reagan loved to say, quoting from Psalm 121,
I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills from whence cometh my help.
My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. But I'm not giving a sermon. I grew up in a blue-collar family.
I'm not
the
giving
son
a
of
sermon.
janitor and a secretary.
You're 2.5
While we
minutes
didn't
into the
have much
launch
money,
video. The whole
56
thing's a
years
sermon as far as I can tell. Jeez.
Faith, family, and really hard work. And like President Trump, I am not afraid of the media or the crazy left-wing Democrats. I can't be bought. And I'm not going to play by the old political rules or the playbook of losing.
That's good. That's good. All right. Phil Sarnecki announcing he is running for governor of Kansas in a 3-minute video that dropped on YouTube last night. And listen, Republican, met him a couple of times. Good guy. He's clearly going to run as the outsider, the Donald Trump-esque candidate in this Kansas governor's race. I think about some of the people who have tried that in Kansas politics in recent memory. The one that certainly stands out above the rest because of the ads, Bob Hamilton running in that Senate race back in, I guess that was 2020. There may be something there. In a crowded field that includes a lot of politicians, Phil Sarnecki should lean into the I'm not a politician lane because it's one that he can actually own. When you think about all the people in this race, they all have some ties to Kansas politics. They've either been in office, they are in office. So that's a smart play. It's a very smart play. But now he's got to get a lot of name ID because outside of certain circles in Johnson County, he's just not a known figure around the state. And while most people don't know their state senator, the one thing that you can say about Jeff Collier, he has been governor before. Now, you can obviously say about him, he's lost a primary already. He lost to Kobach back in 2018. There's a pro and a con for each of these folks running right now. Every single one of them has some good with some not so good. So the question is, who leans into their lane the most? Who owns the lane that gives them the biggest leg up in this race? And if Sarnecki can master and also be the only guy in the I'm the outside businessman, leader, Trumpish kind of figure in this race, he's got a chance. The person that could hurt him theoretically is someone like Dayton Moore. But, having had conversations privately with Dayton in the last few weeks, I don't know where his head is at right now, and he may not make a decision anytime soon. So Sarnecki would be wise to just do a huge ad campaign all over the state, have his name out there, get that name ID, and lean in where people say, oh, yeah, that's the outside businessman, and he's the guy who's kind of leaning into the whole Trump thing, and, see if that works. Because at this point, that's his best bet, John.
I'm with you. The need to differentiate in the Republican candidates. Let me save you a little time. Time is money on your ads. Don't tell me you're against the left and the Democrats. You better be. Let's make that an obvious. You're stating the obvious. Don't waste time with that phrase. That cost you.
Plus, 3-minute commercials get awfully expensive.
Exactly.
I know.
Save yourself 5 to 7 seconds. We get it.
That we do, my man. That we do. 913-408-7957. That's our text line and our studio line. So we got another one in. And you're running for governor. And you're running for governor. And you're running for governor. The other thing this governor's race has is a heavy Johnson County presence between Jeff Collier, now Philip Sarnecki, throw in Scott Schwab, the Secretary of State, who's a Johnson County guy. There is a deep, deep, deep Johnson County bench here in this race. And that may also help the folks who are outside of that lane. Steve, Shawnee, what's up, Steve? Go.
Hey, Hey, Pete, you know what? It's really funny about the Republicans running for governor right now. I mean, there's almost 8 of them or something like that. And, what's that guy named Billings? He got kicked out by Schwab. Ty Masterson's is in, and Schwab is in. And it feels like they're basically eating each other up in the Republican Party. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the thing is, they're just opening up the highway for the Democrats just to move in and get elected again to the governorship of Kansas.
Well, it's possible if they coalesce around one candidate who's halfway, decent. And I don't mean as a politician. I just mean as a candidate in terms of how they sell themselves. It's possible. I can tell you this, though. The White House has not latched on to anybody yet. The White House was interested in talking to Dayton Moore, but it's not clear that's going to happen. And they have not latched on to any of these other candidates. There's not an obvious backup for them just yet. And you know and I know, I mean, in an 8-way primary, if Trump comes in and says, this is my guy or gal, it's game, set, match. It's over. 913-408-7957. We have time for you. Kietzman is back at 10:05 on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. And if you haven't heard what Emmanuel Cleaver is saying about his congressional district basically getting gerrymandered, well, try to interpret this coming up next.
You're listening to Mundo in the Morning on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM.
I need your help interpreting Kansas City Congressman Emmanuel Cleaver because I can't figure this thing out. I don't know what he's saying. I really don't. He goes on Channel 41 this weekend, and he's talking about the fact that his congressional district is going to be redrawn. Mike Kehoe announced it in the big news on Friday news dump before the holiday weekend, that they will have a special session to address redistricting in Missouri that will have a major impact in Kansas City starting tomorrow. They'll be down there in Jeff City. They'll be working on this new map. And I don't want to say it's guaranteed to pass, but it would be shocking to me if it didn't pass. Emmanuel Cleaver will still be in the 5th Congressional District, but it'll basically be the northern half of Jackson County and basically work out east all the way towards Columbia from there. And Emmanuel Cleaver goes on local TV to try to make his case, and he literally doesn't make any sense when he says this.
You could have two people fighting legislation in the state, in the national capital, and the school district wanting one side to win and realize that the other side will do damage. So what happens? I mean, that is just absolutely mind-bending.
Oh, what is he saying? The school district's for something, and then people are against it, so therefore it's best if we don't change the 5th Congressional District? What does that mean? I've listened to it. That's like the 9th time I've heard it since 5 o'clock this morning. I listened to it 6 or 7 times by myself. I played it a couple of times on the air, and I don't know what Emmanuel Cleaver's trying to say there. I have no idea what he's going for. I thought maybe 9th time's a charm, but apparently it's not. Because I'm just, if not more confused than I was the first time. John?
The definition of insanity is?
Shame on me.
Yeah.
Shame on me.
You can quit now.
I can quit. All right, I'm done. That's it. We did have on Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe this morning. And, I asked him, I said, listen, I watched your video. The one thing he didn't say is that the main driver of this is President Trump, and it's a response to the fact that blue states are gerrymandered like all get out, and now Trump's saying, you know what? What's good for the goose is good for the gander. And I don't blame him for doing that, but let's just be clear on what this is. Like, if this was something that was really a passion point for Mike Kehoe, they just had a special session in June, right? They did the Chiefs and the Royals stuff then. They had an entire 5-month legislative session. This never came up. So this was a push from the administration. I have no problem with them doing that. It's the game of politics. But, yeah, it's a gerrymander. And I asked Mike Kehoe why he didn't include that in his 3-minute message on Friday.
Well, certainly, if you look at other Democrat states, as you pointed out, East Coast and West Coast, you don't have to go very far in the Midwest in Illinois. I would ask any of your listeners just to pull up a picture of the map for Illinois, and you'll see what really bad maps look like. And they're definitely using it to their advantage to put as many Democrats in Congress in those states as they can. And I said all along that Missouri's values don't match the Democratic values. You've seen that in our state in the last 20 or 30 years, that 90+% of our county courthouses now are all Republican. I'd say 20 years ago, that number was probably 60%. And it's what my mother told me when she was a born and raised Democrat. She didn't leave the party. They left her. So that's what's happened. As the Democrat Party has gone this extreme left, embracing a admitted socialist to be the mayor of New York City. I mean, that does not match Missouri values.
There you go. That was Mike Kehoe this morning. And if he sounded out of breath, it's because he was out of breath, because he was walking/jogging/running because he wants to get into shape ahead of the big special session. It's not because he was nervous coming on the air. It's because he was exercising. You got to fit it in when you can if you're the governor of Missouri. So I get it. He's not going to just outwardly admit, yeah, we're responding to Illinois. We're responding to California. We're responding to New York. But that's what they're doing. Texas is doing it. Now Missouri's doing it. Kansas apparently might do it, but I got to see it to believe it. And apparently Indiana will be on this list as well. So if this is the game that Gavin Newsom also wants to play, the math is clear. It's not going to work out well for his political party. Didn't work out well last night for Bill Belichick. His coaching debut was an absolute bust at the college level. 48-14 loss to TCU. Mark, did you do okay on that? You hung in there? You bet TCU minus the 3.5?
I did, but I had it going an alt under, which was a bad choice by me.
Oh, bad job. Well, the last time North Carolina lost a non-conference game by 27 points, Bill Belichick's girlfriend was in middle school. The problem is that was only 11 years ago. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. on KCMO Talk Radio, 95.7 FM, streaming on the app. Kietzman is back next.